Hello, this is Gosia from Cosmic Agency, and I wanted to appear here very briefly to give you this introduction, very short introduction to this series of these videos about the immersion programs. This is going to be a fascinating topic, which I know a lot of you will be interested in. But before I'll give you this very short intro, this is me without the fringe. I'm just doing this because some of you are saying, oh, you should grow your hair and not have your fringe. Well, this is how I look. My forehead is huge, so I think I look completely weird, like a space alien without my fringe. So I'm just doing this to show you how it looks. Anyway, the immersion topic. The immersion programs is something that is very common for a lot of extraterrestrial races, and it's very in use. It's in use every day for anything, for entertainment on ship. As you will see, entertainment, short immersions. Then it's used for training. If you want to go and train to be a pilot or whatever you want to do, you go there and you train martial arts, anything. And then it is also used to enter the terrestrial cycle as a human, but without leaving your body. Well, actually, you are kind of leaving, yes, you are rerouted to the terrestrial avatar on Earth, but you have your original body there in 5D in the immersion pod. So this is going to be explained as well. And this is going to be in 3 parts. So the first part will be a general introduction, quite detailed introduction by Aneka, and then the second part will be more interactive and also fascinating, even longer than the first one, where we are asking questions, where me and Robert are asking questions. So that's going to be a very important part as well. And then the third part about the immersion programs will be Aneka's answers to questions in live that came up during Robert's live transmission. He did the live just dedicated to the immersion topic, and Aneka was online answering the questions. So I'm going to translate those, and that's going to be part 3. Personally, this topic fascinates me a lot because, as you might know, because I think I've mentioned this a few times before, but if you are new to the channel, then you don't know that actually I also am in one of those immersion chambers. I have been confirmed by the Tagetan team that I am in one of those immersion pods, and I even know my number. It's 1007. I even know my name there in the pod, but I'll keep that for myself for now. So it is a quite fascinating topic for me myself. And as you will see from one of the questions that someone made in Robert's live, how can you know? How can you tell if you are in the immersion? If it feels any different than if you are born from source. And from myself, from my own experience, I can tell you that even before meeting Svaru, long time before I met Aneka, Svaru and the team, I've always had this sensation, and I have it written down somewhere. I've always had this sensation. It's like I'm only half of me here or something. Like I am actually not here. I seem to be here. I am like registering data here, but I feel I'm not here. I don't mean to say I am not from here. I mean to say I feel like I am not here. Like I am interfacing only here. But me, myself, I'm somewhere up there, I don't know, sitting on a chair with some cables attached to my head. That's how I imagined it before. Here you will see there are no cables and you're not sitting in a chair. It's actually in a horizontal position, and then the pod goes into in the horizontal position, and then it goes into the vertical position once you are asleep. But before, I thought it was like the Matrix. That was the feeling to me, like in the movie Matrix, that you have those cables, you're sitting somewhere on a chair, and you are projecting into another scene, another context. So this is how I've always felt, and I've always had the sensation, I need to be beamed out of here. I know I am not here. Beam me out. So it makes perfect sense to me now, and I'm very grateful for this information and that I was explained things about myself and about the immersion programs. So I hope you enjoy it as well. It's a fascinating, very complex, technological but spiritual subject as well. Enjoy! The immersion subject encompasses precise information. It is advanced, or among the most advanced subjects you've given, and it connects with countless other subjects already published. Mechanics of manifestation, printing with the tractor beam, stellar mapping, abductions, incarnations, life after death, 3D matrix, false people, all converge into this subject, backing it up with complex and complete information that supports what was said in all the previous ones. Asks Robert, what branches of science go into immersion technology, and to what degree is consciousness involved?
The science used there is holographic computing, but immersions are used for countless purposes, be it from entertainment, communications, teleconferences, simulation of hypothetical scenarios, reconstruction of scenarios of real events, training of all kinds, such as pilots, even professional training such as welding or art. Therapeutic uses as treatments against post-traumatic disorder, overcoming phobias. As for work immersions, the consciousness of a person can be moved by diverting it from her body to another, while the original falls asleep in suspension, where the subject uses an avatar of any kind, as if it were her body. 1. Only as entertainment, since that avatar only exists inside the computer. 2. Real avatar, as the use or management of an empty biological clone previously built and tuned in terms of its frequencies to the subject in question. Frequency synchronization. Every person has their own frequency, that is the thread of their thoughts, what the person is like, and what they have accumulated over time in their life and in previous lives. Everything is electromagnetic energy. In the case of a biological organism, it is what they call subtle energy. But in itself, it is only a very high frequency, and compared to what a generator or an electric motor emits, that's not, say, plasma turbine, it is very big and strong. So, it is not that they are subtle energies, but that they're simply in another frequency or group of higher frequencies. The biological or soul energy is not that weak either. On the contrary, it transcends the range of influence even of large generators. It is of high frequency. This is a common misinterpretation. As for the physical material body, it is made up of a complex neural network in constant evolution and formation, change. How neurons are connected, their groups that they form, and which of them fire and at what moment, under what conditions, generates its own energy field because neurons are electrical. They create an electrochemical depolarization based on complex groups and types of neurotransmitter substances that modulate the amount and type of electrical discharge that affects the next neuron and this one the next. thus forming a chain reaction that explains the transmission of stimulus through either the brain or a nerve network in the body. How neurons connect, how one neuron is receptive to the stimulus of another, is a chemical electrical mechanism where the neuron displaces an electrical charge from the mitochondria in the nucleus through the axon towards the dendrites, where neurotransmitters are released and will be interpreted by the receptors in the next neuron, and that will react to the stimulus with another electrical discharge. The energetic dynamics between neurons, we speak of millions of neurons communicating with each other biochemically, generates a resulting electromagnetic frequency that is specific to that individual. Not only is it a specific frequency, but since neurons are varying all the time, creating new networks and new contacts with each other, they also alter the resulting frequency of the physical body, which creates a specific temporal frequency, that is, at a specific point in space-time, said physical body maintains or maintained a very exact and specific frequency. It is an energetic location, address. So a computer with immersion technology can emulate the corresponding total or partial signal of a brain of a specific person, or even of a group of specific neurons, let's say those of the visual or auditory cortex, thus giving a mind-computer interface of maximum efficiency. In other words, the computer can give any individual an audio-visual or even tactile or olfactory stimulus. This is based in music, for example, where the computer can make an individual listen to music directly inside the brain, with nothing auditory outside, without external speakers. The same happens with communication technologies based on the transfer of images directly to the brain of a person who can see them as if it were with his eyes. This kind of technology, already used in the real world, is used in Taygeta and other civilizations as instruments of therapy or replacement in case of deafness or blindness of an individual. This, more than anything, while said individual goes into repair by immersion in a medical pod. These kinds of technologies have virtually unlimited uses. Another way is the use of computer mined video images of a pilot, where it allows him to see in all directions a full 360 sphere around his fighter craft, giving him an advantage over less technologically advanced opponents, and this in support of other systems on the same ship. It is also worth mentioning the audio application for computer-mined messages for general communications, where the person only has to think the instructions they want to give the computer, and it will read their mind automatically. This is artificial telepathy. For entertainment use in terms of immersions, the total simulation of the senses of an individual is used where a sequence is printed that the mind of the person will interpret as an experience. In other words, a specific group of neurons will have their exact depolarization sequence and very specific electrochemical dynamics for each specific stimulus. For example, each note, do, re, mi, fa, creates a precise electrical energy discharge in the brain at a specific neural center. So, by imposing a matching frequency on it by the computer, it will create the same neural stimulus that it would receive if it listened to the real do, re, e keys of a piano, for example. Each group of neurons has its energetic localization specific to each person individual, unrepeatable, and unique. So the computer sends signals in an exact sequence where they cause a desired stimulus in a specific sequence and with an exact combination that will create together an audiovisual experience. And all of the senses that will be equivalent in terms of experience to a real event. You can create and send the signal directly to the brain energetically recreated. A scene of walking on the beach, listening to the sea, with the smell of the sea, the breeze, the sensation of the sand between your toes. And for the brain, it will be indistinguishable from a real experience. In itself, it is the basis for any type of immersion, for whatever purpose. The combinations and uses for this technology are endless and constantly evolving.
Wow, Annika, much more than I imagined. I have many questions now.
I know this doesn't exist there, but it is common here. It is used every day. The subject is very big, but I can give it all.
Yes, I would like to deepen the very 3D immersion mechanics. In fact, I would form the question like this. You have explained the function of immersions in general. But for people who don't know yet, this technology is also applied to enter the terrestrial experience, right? There are many starseeds that are in 3D and who have entered with this technology. They look and feel human, but they are really projecting from their immersion cameras. Could you explain how exactly this is done? Step by step.
Yes, although all immersions, including those, are based on the same principle described above. Detection by means of highly sensitive interferometers that map the individual's brain and determine which frequency signals are necessary to create the desired stimuli that will create the experience. Each group of neurons will have an energetic frequency identical to a frequency star map. It is the same as with a spaceship in hyperspace. There are no distances, only energetic localizations in a field that is ether. So a concordant signal passed through hyperspace with transmission technology by muons can pass the signal from the computer of the Immersion Pod in Tulkal City in Temer to any place in the universe equally. Energetically, the pod signal is sent by continuous muons, and it will only affect the brain that is concordant with the signal no matter where it is. In other words, from the point of view of these muon gravitational signals, there are no distances, and it does not matter if a person is in the immersion right by the pod or 440 light years away, as it does not matter for a ship to jump from any point in the known and mapped universe to another. I hope I have answered the question. I must go step by step, describing the hardware as well. Nothing is transmitted by radio or microwave, but by muon gravity signals. sometimes to clarify 3D artificial matrix concept. It is still correct, but not like it is something that is unique in being false. In other words, everything is a matrix. Everything that is a mental creation called the material world, of whatever density. See the 3D just as something that is very notoriously material and dubiously spiritual. And as we go up in densities, everything becomes more energy, so everything materializes faster. But the material part is getting diluted. What we would call the matrix, and progressively becoming more and more potential energy, and that is consciousness. In other words, from a solid material world, the solid matter gradually dilutes towards only energy consciousness as we go up into higher densities. So everything is matrix. Everything obeys the same reasons for existing, the same formation or manifestation of a consciousness. What happens in 3D specifically is that very specific range of frequencies that are on Earth, or that to make up the Earth, are very controlled with what you would call very high technology, very advanced. So, for example, as I said 3 years ago, I can insert a building. How? Because we can create matter from energy. Because, as we have explained before, civilizations here on our part are classified in 3 main ways. There are more, but it would be another subject. 1. Civilizations that are capable of drawing energy from matter in a nuclear way, atomic energy as on Earth. 2. Civilizations that can draw energy from matter, nuclear energy, and in addition to that, can take energy and turn it into matter, like Taygeta. 3. Pre-industrial or primitive civilizations that cannot do either of those 2 things. Point number 2 is extremely important, since drawing energy out of matter is relatively easy. Generating matter from energy is extremely complex and requires a conjunction of many sciences and knowledge together, such as the application of computers with gigantic capacities compared to those of the Earth, and the creation of machines capable of printing an energy matrix from the instructions given by that powerful computer. To achieve this, the knowledge is vast and very advanced. So, the fact that we can control what happens on Earth as a video game only indicates that we technologically control that area. Apart from that, the rest of the universe is also subject to the same principles of the energy matrix. So everything is a numbers matrix. It can even be represented digitally with computers on Earth, and this is also the case with lunar computers. As I said 3 years ago, they're digital. Everything is an energetic location. All matter that exists has a value in gravity, and gravity is an attention or flow of creative attention that prints a point of formation or concentration of energy until it forms something precise and recognizable as hard matter. But everything is frequencies, and everything is energy, synchronized and ordered with extreme precision and extreme complexity. Accuracy dictated by the harmonics of a frequency, and this can be represented with numerical values. These numerical values are the matrix. By altering the numerical values that represent energetic dynamics, you modify the tangible or material reality. That's why we call it the matrix. But there is more matrix here in 5D, which is illusory because there are no densities, as Yasi already explained. It is only a way of understanding the unintelligible. So it doesn't matter where we are, here or on Earth. Energetic rules will change, but remains essentially the same, an energetic and numerical matrix. So the only difference with the Earth is that the energy matrix that composes it is artificially controlled. Returning to immersions, it means that you can immerse yourself into virtually any part, whatever the density, whatever location in the universe, it does not matter. Just that in this topic we apply it, or we apply the terms immersion only to the Earth, but it happens everywhere and on advanced planets. A degree of advancement that already manipulates and creates matter from energy. Answering the question you had, Gosha, from another day. Which brains are prepared for the immersion? The 3 ones before connecting the 5D person, or if such brains, 3D people, are made in the moment, if they are artificially created? Both. A person can be created by printing only the energetic and dynamic matrix of frequencies, their harmonics, directly with a computer, as it were a lamppost. Definition of false empty matrix people without a soul, by the way. Or you can take a person that has been created, what we would call naturally, only from creative consciousness, from the source, but the result is the same. It is a physical person, a body with its organs inside, indistinguishable from others. It should be mentioned that not only people, buildings, poles, trees can and are created in an elaborate way from a high-powered holographic computer, but also the complex dynamics that a complex sequence of events would represent there. This technology has been described in detail by Zveru before. So, the signal goes from the immersion chamber or immersion pod to the receiver that has the harmonic energy dynamics that correspond to the frequency of the signal emitted by the pod. This signal comes or is read from neuronal activity and its electrochemical magnetic dynamics that interferometer type sensors detect, which are not so different from those used to guide spacecraft. In other words, this device reads and makes a precise map of all the electrochemical magnetic movements that occur within a brain and transmits it to another receiving brain. The original brain in itself is another receiver that decodes and interprets the signal from the individual soul. As we have said before, a soul is not in a body, but works through a body. The immersion pod detects brain waves and electrochemical magnetic dynamics and retransmits them through muon gravity transmission technology to another brain that is ready to receive the signal. At the same time, the pod puts the original body in stasis or suspended animation and isolates, with precise stimuli at points in the brain. The information coming from its senses. In other words, the original body only remains as a container for an original brain that connects with the source and diverts the electrochemical magnetic sensory information to another prepared body, where the life experience of that body is transmitted to the original, and from there to the source. It sounds like a lot of deviation, but it is very direct. The signal is not lost. The connection with the pod is very strong. For this to be achieved, it is necessary to have another avatar body that corresponds in frequencies with that of the original mind of the soul that will carry it. Either this body is created and inserted into the matrix to be later inhabited by someone else in immersion, or a body that has similar but not the same frequencies is taken and it is modified to be able to receive the signal satisfactorily. This modification is what the little greys, the gardeners, do. It is the main reason for the abductions they do all the time. That is why a mother gets prepared herself to be able to maintain a frequency of a new life with a frequency different from her own. That is why adults are abducted, to be able to change their frequency, because of life contracts such as walk-ins, where a person will only inhabit a body until a certain age or date, and then is replaced by another person entirely. This second incoming person, or walk-in, as they say in English, will still have access to the memories of the physical body that it inhabits. But it will not be the same person or soul that it was before. He or she won't carry the first person's karma either. This change usually occurs after or during an event, many times pre-programmed, such as traumatic experience of the accident type, but not necessarily.
Thank you. The explanation is very good and complete.